Hi, I'm Rashida.
Hi, I'm Stephanie.
And we are here.
Adelia.
And Adelia.
I'm sorry, I couldn't see her. I just saw her. I couldn't see her earlier.
Stephanie Rashida from Exodus Summit here to talk to you about the best towns in Mexico to go to if you want to stay somewhere long term. And we have Adelia here who lives in the best city in Mexico to talk to us about other good options. The number one option for everyone. Best city in the world. We agree on that. So she's going to talk to us about the best city in the world, which is in Mexico, hint, hint. And then her other favorites in Mexico as well, because she's been around the country, explored a lot of it. All right.
And we're going to have some other members from Exodus Squad pop in and out and talk about their faves and their recommendations and their experiences and stuff. So we're going to give people just a couple minutes to get on. And I'm going to share the links some places, and we have some people being asked to join the group and stuff. So we're going to do some of that for just a second. While we're doing that, Adelia, tell us what's going on in Mexico City.
Things aren't great right now because of the pandemic. The government is trying very, very hard to get people to stay home and not throw parties. And people are basically ignoring the government.
So I saw today that that was Jamaica. In Jamaica, they closed the rivers and the lakes, but in Mexico, they closed museums. Did they close anything else?
They have reduced hours for stores. Basically, they have to close at 5.
I'm sorry, what? You said 5?
5. Yes. And some of the pictures I saw yesterday from downtown made my skin crawl. There were hundreds of people crowded, like whoever framed this picture, because you can see the sign the store made that says, we have to close at 5. And then in the background, you see hundreds of people trying to buy Christmas stuff. And of course, a lot of them, their mask isn't on properly. It's crazy. It's crazy. I think the government has also restricted some of they were still doing some face-to-face processes and services, and now those are completely online. They're trying to keep people at home, and people are not listening.
Okay. So that's a thing. That is a thing. That's a sad thing because Mexico City is the number one city in the world. If you weren't sure where we were going with that intro earlier, Mexico City is the number one city. And so
why is that? So let's talk about Mexico City compared to Guadalajara, because you just went to Guadalajara, Rashida, and you were not feeling it.
I'm gonna let Adelia start with that one.
We're on the same page with that one, because I was hoping that Guadalajara could be very similar to Mexico City. It is, I believe, the second largest city in the country, and people who like it hype it up. And I went, and it was kind of like, eh. And this was pre-COVID, and I struggled to find things to do. I struggled to find things to see. I didn't feel that it was as walkable as Mexico City. I think there were like a couple of streets, maybe a couple of neighborhoods, but on the whole, no, it does not compare.
Okay, so Guadalajara has a good cost of living, and they have good weather. It's high altitude. I guess Mexico City is too. So what's your temperature today?
Today, I think it is, let's see, current temperature in Mexico City. It's 74 degrees. 74 degrees right now.
Okay, so it's 73 here. Okay, so we have similar weather. I'm outside of Guadalajara. I'm less than 30 minutes from Guadalajara in Lake Chapala. So similar weather, similar cost of living, I think, but very different feel. Guadalajara is more boring. It is slower, but I think for people who are looking for a place to live, it's not a great vacation destination. It's a good vacation destination. It's not a great vacation destination, but I think it's good for people who want to live somewhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I would put it in one of those cities that it's, because the city I'm originally from, I always say it's a great place to live. It's not a place you want to visit. However,
Houston, right? That's Houston. Yeah.
I did not enjoy my visit to I couldn't see myself living there.
I was in Guadalajara, like, then what do I do tomorrow? Like, what? Okay, I spent like 3 hours out of the house today. I like found something to do, but like the rest of it, just nothing. There's just nothing. And then the food. I don't know if it's because, of course, I just love Mexico City and the food there is so good, but like almost nothing I ate in Guadalajara tasted good or tasted like as good as it would have when I ordered the same thing in Mexico City. It was disappointing overall.
I think Guadalajara is a good choice for people who find Mexico City overwhelming.
Mm-hmm.
I think that might be about their speed.
Yeah. Yes. And for people who want to do some, I don't know what Mexico City has in terms of like nature stuff, but Guadalajara is close to the lake. It's close to Lake Chapala, so you can do lake stuff. And I don't know, I don't do lake stuff, but there is a lake
within, because that's pretty much what I've been doing since I got back during the pandemic. There, inside the city limit, there are volcanoes you can hike. Okay. A 2-hour drive, there are waterfalls.
Okay, 2 hours. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so, I've been to Lake Chapala. What do you do at Lake Chapala?
Eat food.
Okay. We ate. That's what we did. Yeah. Anne-Marie's joined us.
Hi. Hey, Anne-Marie.
Hi. And we did not send out a memo about green, but apparently there was a mind meld and everyone but Adelia got it. Oh no.
Hi, Anne-Marie. So do you have
there.
Where are you?
You guys are ruining it for me talking down Guadalajara like that, because that's on my list.
But your list is like 20 cities, so I'm not gonna feel bad about that.
It's not quite 20. Yeah, but Guadalajara is on my list for my 2-month spin that's upcoming, starting on the 27th.
Guadalajara is in the state of, one more pitch for Guadalajara. It's in the state of Jalisco, which is their state motto is Jalisco es Mexico. Jalisco is Mexico. The stuff that you like about Mexico when is from the state of Jalisco. Tequila, boom. Yes. From the state of Jalisco, which is, there's a town called Tequila where you can go and take a tequila tour. There's a train, you can take the train.
Yes, which I posted about on my Instagram yesterday because it is truly the most fun thing we did in Guadalajara was to go to Tequila.
Yeah.
And of course there was a lot of tequila. A lot.
It's the home of mariachi music. It's the home of mariachi music, so there are lots of mariachi festivals. You can just go walk down the street and there's mariachi bands playing and stuff. So it's if you're concerned about coming to Mexico and feeling like you're in any city in any part of the world, Guadalajara is the answer, right? Because you go to you go to France or you go to Paris and maybe you don't necessarily feel like you're in France, you're just in a city. You go to Berlin and you're just in a city. You don't feel like you're in Germany, like if you're down in Bavaria. But when you come to Guadalajara, you're in Mexico.
And it's Mexico. I didn't realize this until I got there, but it's got a big cowboy tradition. So we went to this market that it's like a lot of leather goods. We were looking at like saddles and holsters. And I was like, that's what I was like, oh, something's different about, like, this is legit. Like they're selling like gun holsters for people to carry today, not like old historic stuff, like all the leather goods. And I was like, oh, okay. Like it still has that cowboy culture, which I found really interesting.
Well, I'm looking forward to my tequila tour, which I've already booked.
So. You booked it already? Right. Are you going to do the train?
Well, after I saw Rashida's post, I was like, I have to do this immediately. I have to get this booked immediately. That's like my kind of day trip.
Okay. I'm going to share that. If I can do the volume off in the, nope, cannot do it without the volume on. Share that in the comments here, if I can find where we are. But if you want to do the same thing, you can. It was a very, very good experience.
Rashida, were there Mexicans on the tour?
It was 95%. It was 95% Mexican. Some of the people were Mexican heritage who lived in the United States, but came down for that. No, there were probably throughout the day, 15 people. There were me and my mom, 2 Black people and 2 white people. Everybody else was Mexican.
Okay, because when I did it, turns out I did the same one you did. I was the only non-Mexican. And so when we got to the distillery, basically I got my own tour guide because they were like, we'll do it in English for you. So
yeah, the 4 of us had our own tour guide and everybody else was together with Spanish. But yeah, it was a really good experience. I liked it. All right, so I'm in the comments now. I'm gonna post the thing I posted yesterday. So if you too want to book one, that link to book is also still in my bio. But we're not here to talk about tequila. We are. That was a fun little town.
Yeah,
fun little town.
It's
but
cute. It's cute. Okay, so let's talk about the next town. I would like to learn about Oaxaca because Adelia's been and I have not been. It's south, very far south, and I just haven't gotten that far.
When I went, I took the bus. It was about a 6-hour bus ride to Oaxaca City, Oaxaca de Juarez. And I went during July when they have this huge festival called the Guelaguetza, where people from all over Mexico come. There are parades. Everybody's wearing traditional costumes. There's lots of weddings. I mean, it was basically just a party 2 weeks straight. I was there for a week. July. It's usually the last 2 weeks in July.
Okay.
And at the end of each week, there is a big, I'm not gonna call it a dance off, but they have, I guess it's a competition where, you know, all of the different regions for Mexico, they have different troops of dancers there, and all of the dances have a story behind them and their special costumes. It was just a real good time.
Good.
Oaxaca is on my list. I think it's my last stop before I head back is Oaxaca.
And that's a super foodie destination. They have, they're like a foodie paradise.
Mole, tlayudas, which I don't eat, but I had my fill of mole and chocolate when I was there, and various meat in tortillas.
Ooh, yummy.
Adelia is Picky Girl Travels the World. That's her blog. She's Picky Girl Travels on Instagram, right? And she is picky. She's a very picky eater. So the fact that she's talking about talking about food is hilarious because she does not eat food.
She eats questionable food. I'm gonna just leave it there. We beef about peanut butter every day. Okay, so Anne-Marie, in your experience so far, what has been your favorite city to experience?
My favorite, and I'm taking out of this considerations of where I'm going to live and that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. My favorite city so far has been Campeche.
Okay.
Yeah.
Details, please. Where is this?
Campeche is in Yucatan. It is, well, it's its own state, but it's on the Yucatan Peninsula. It's on the Gulf of Mexico. It's the capital of the state of Campeche. Okay. And I think it's the only state now that's green. Relevant to COVID, but it is just
green too.
Okay, it is beautiful. I mean, and I remember when we drove in and there were these big white circles with this tall Mayan statues, and it was like white and sparkling because I was on my phone. I'm always on my phone, and I looked up and I like literally put my phone down, and it's just a beautiful. Feels very Mexican, but at the same time feels modern. And then it's on the sea, and there's this beautiful Malecon that goes almost like from one end of the city all the way down. And I met up with Cynthia, who I think is in this group, who lives there. And so I got to spend time in the Centro, and they have these beautiful colored buildings and the long, cobblestone lanes with the beautiful colored buildings. And they have, there's a wall. It's an old city that they fought over a lot. The Spanish fought others over, and they built these walls around the city. So it's just really beautiful. There are Mayan ruins there if you want to go see them. It kind of has everything. And my favorite thing was we sat right on the ocean and had fresh catch seafood, fried whole fish, which was like one of my favorite things in the world to eat. Yeah. and shrimp like right out of the ocean. It was just really, I just loved it. I loved everything about it. The only thing about Campeche is everyone there speaks Spanish.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
You're not, yeah.
So if you're, it's a great place if you want an immersion situation. It's great, but it would be difficult if you're jumping in and you don't know a lot of Spanish, which I'm still learning. But I mean, the people are very nice. They're like super sweet. It's super inexpensive. I mean, taxis in comparison to Playa del Carmen, for example, the experience was completely different. Like it was exactly what they told me it would be is what it was. It never changed, even though I'm clearly not Mexican. And I just felt safe there. I like went on walks by myself in the morning and everyone says hello to you when you're walking down the street. It was just a really charming, but yet modern. It felt modern at the same time. It felt very old.
So Anne-Marie, Anne-Marie, you talked about meeting up with another woman there. Are there Black women there? Is this a place where?
Cynthia was the only Black woman I met.
Okay.
But we had a ball. I mean, we had an absolute ball together. I was working for, I'm working from everywhere I am.
Yeah.
And that was one of the times where work felt very, very inconvenient.
Okay.
And I was like, why do I have to like do this? And then I remember, because you have to pay your bills with this still. But it was like very inconvenient because I like would have liked to have been out every single day because I just really loved being there.
Okay. So Campeche, so you had good internet access so you could work?
It was good. It wasn't great. It was good.
Okay.
Mérida had much better in terms of like places that I would live. I would definitely say Mérida is right now at the top of the list in terms because it has everything. But in terms of places that I would live if Wi-Fi didn't matter so much and I spoke better Spanish, like if I spoke really good Spanish, I'd move to Campeche tomorrow.
Okay.
Because I really, really loved it there.
And one thing I want people to be aware of when they're moving to another country or sometimes you can feel like I can't move there because I don't speak the language. Like I can't move to France until I learn French, or I can't move to Mexico unless I speak Spanish. In my experience, most of the transactions I have with other humans that aren't online tend to be like commercial transactions. I'm typically trying to buy something, pay, do something like that. And your girl can figure out how to spend money. And the people I am dealing with can figure out how to take my money. So if most of your like if I wanted to go on a date, I got nothing for you. Yeah. But if I need to go to the grocery store, if I need to get from A to B, if I need to do the normal day-to-day things that aren't like or I'm not at the building relationships with people level, saying hello is almost all you need in a lot of countries. If you can say like 3 words, hello, goodbye, and how much does this cost, you'll be fine. So don't feel like
where's the bank? I found where's the bank is helpful too. If you can.
I think it's important to get like the basic things. But for me, what I'm looking for is I don't want to be in a situation where the only people I can interact with are expats.
Yes.
That's literally the opposite of what I'm looking for. So and I'm like actively trying to be like working on my Spanish, which is kind of shameful as many years of Spanish that I've taken that I still don't speak it well. But I really want to be able to talk to local people. So it kind of pains me when I can order dinner and I can, talk to people about money, even though I'm still working on my currency and all of that. But I want to be able to like relate to people as humans. And so that's the thing, especially for where I'm going to live, because I don't want to feel locked into, like if I'm in Mérida, that I only want to be in North Mérida because that's where all the expats are and everybody speaks English over there kind of thing. So, but I definitely think you're right that you shouldn't let it stop you if you fall in love with somewhere that you really,
because you're going to learn
every single thing that you want. You definitely shouldn't let it stop you from considering thinking about moving there.
Yeah,
because you're going to learn. The housekeeper, so I'm house sitting now. The housekeeper came in on Saturday and we had a conversation and I was like, wow, look at this. She told me that her son was sick, which is not good, right? So I had just finished my 14 days of self-isolation and then she comes in, cleans the house. She's like, oh, I'm going to leave now. My son is sick and I have to take him to the doctor. But we have a whole conversation about stuff, what I'm going to do there. The Festival of the Virgin just ended and all the fireworks just ended. And I'm like, gosh, I spoke Spanish. So you do learn. It's not fixed.
I'm using Spanish more now, even now that I'm back in the States. Like I was at the doctor's office this morning, not COVID related, thankfully. And I was talking to the guy in the parking lot, and I ended up like asking him some stuff in Spanish, and he loved it. Mm-hmm. You know, and then he got carried away, and I was like, okay, those are enough. I know. But it was kind of nice that I even thought to revert to it because I've been using it so much before I came back home. So you definitely will learn it. Stephanie's absolutely right. You will learn it. You will pick it up.
I preface every interaction. I learned to say very well, I'm sorry, my Spanish is not good. I preface every conversation with that, and then I plow ahead. And people in Mexico have been very kind and accommodating, and will even pull out their phone to try and translate when my Spanish fails me. Yeah.
I often find people in Mexico apologizing for not speaking English. And I'm like, no. I'm the one. I am the communication barrier here. It's not you. So yeah, don't let that be a reason that you can't move. You'll figure it out. You'll get through maybe a couple months of the basics, and you'll be able to expand your circle and your words. To Anne-Marie's point, the more local your neighborhood is, the quicker you'll pick up on the words you need to know. So yeah. So
Alicia, I hope you're here. Alicia said she had trouble finding us. I hope you're here. If you're here, say hi. Everyone say hi. We have some stuff going on in the chat, some questions. And Mérida is a really big, like people have a lot of questions about Mérida. So we're going to bring on Tony. Yeah?
No.
Is she not here?
Now.
She just
Tony, if you're watching.
Okay.
Wait,
Tony.
Oh wait, no, I was wrong. Okay. We're bringing on Tony.
I think we're gonna bring on Tony.
We're bringing on Tony.
Tony went from Tulum. So Tony has an interesting story. If you are anywhere on Instagram or Facebook in 2020, you know that there are Black people in Tulum. So Tony went to Tulum and decided it was not for her, and instead went to Mérida. So I'm really interested in hearing what does Mérida have that Tulum doesn't have, and how did you decide?
Hi, Tony.
Hi, everybody. Hey, Anne-Marie.
My drinking buddy that we don't drink together though, but that's
everybody knows I don't drink, right? But every time they bring a margarita, I'm like, yeah, let me have one of those. So the joke is we need to get back together so I can not drink with y'all. So. But I got to, I really wanted to move to Mexico to be able to afford to live by the beach, as well as a host of other reasons. And when I got to Tulum, of course, I enjoyed the beach, but I wanted, I need more exploration. They have like one main Avenida de Tulum, and that was pretty much it. After I walked that a few times in a few days, I was like, I need more. I need, I wanted a city that had some culture to it, that had, libraries, that had, more of a history. And someplace, because I wasn't looking for the vacation experience. I was looking for a place where I could live. And so a friend of mine, I met her through the Exodus Summit. We had been, online talking for at least a month before I went. And I called her and I said, hey, I really would like to, I'm thinking about leaving Tulum. And she said, hey, I think I know where you could stay. She had a friend who had a place for rent. And everything fell into place where I know that God he just had it laid out for me. The next day I took a bus to Mérida. I got the place that night and I moved in that day, and the rest is history. I have a community there. I feel like I'm just so tickled because it's like I had to take the leap of faith, and everything has just been laid out. And I had, my history is I had traveled when I was a lot younger, out of college, and I, hopped on a plane at 20 and went to Europe and stayed there for 4 months. And in the between time, there was marriages, divorces, raising kids. And my kids are grown now. And I'm like, I want to get back to her. So actually this kind of blew up And the Exodus Summit played right into that because I, came to the conference, and it was just like, what am I waiting for to get back to her? So it actually has grown into something bigger than I thought. I ended up doing a GoFundMe page. People are supporting me. I'm writing a book called Getting Back to Her, rediscovering the spirituality, adventure, and fearlessness of my youth, because I felt like I had lost that, and I'm getting it back. It's just really amazing. So, but yeah, that's how I got to Mérida, and I'm just at the tip of exploring it, because I said I'm there to live. So I haven't done a lot of the tourist stuff, and I'm okay with that. Because one thing I think about traveling is you make it what you want it to be.
Yeah.
For me, it's not a time for me to, I'm not really interested in going to see all the sites right now. I'm just trying to, I don't know, find my peace where I'm at, and then, just kind of getting in sync with the community and the culture and our community that we've created. And Anne Marie and I were in on it's called Brothers and Sisters of Mérida, and it's the African American community. And it's just wonderful. I show people the video of us getting together so they don't think that I'm here alone.
Yeah.
So does that answer your question?
Yeah. Let us know about your residency situation. Are you here on a tourist visa?
I'm here on a tourist visa. Probably I'm on a very limited income. So I'm looking into teaching online to increase my income so I can do the temporary residency. Probably, I'm planning to stay in Mérida for at least 6 months. That's my goal, to stay, for a place at least 6 months in Mexico. So that's what I'll do initially. But Mexico for me is just a place to start, and it was convenient. It checked off a lot of boxes. But I want to go to Europe, because I was going to go to Portugal because of you, because you and several other ladies said that was the #1 spot where they welcome African American women. So I had been planning that, but then with COVID and everything, Mexico was just more cost effective. They were letting us in. It was just easier. And I said, I want to do this now. So that's, yeah.
And Adelia, you do have permanent residency in Mexico.
Yes.
And I'm applying.
How are you?
Have
you done it already?
I'm in the process. I'll be finished in January when I go back.
Very good. Now we're hosting a workshop on getting residency abroad. Actually, we're hosting multiple workshops on getting residency abroad. We are talking first about getting residency in Mexico. There are a handful of countries, not a handful, there are many, many countries, many countries where you can get residency based on certain criteria. You can get residency based on being a freelance worker or a digital nomad who has income coming in, right? Who has income and doesn't need to come to that country to get a job. Some people think you need to be able to get a work visa to be able to live somewhere, but you don't have to. Mexico, Adelia's in Mexico on a retirement visa. And retirement doesn't mean you're 65. It means you have this much money, X amount of dollars in the bank. Sure, some countries will welcome you. So we're hosting workshops. We're putting on workshops starting January 17th with Mexico. I think that's right.
I think that's right.
But the Wednesday after Martin Luther King Day is the day that we're talking about getting residency in Mexico. The link to sign up for your workshop is exodussummit.com/workshops. We're talking Mexico, Portugal, France, Costa Rica, and the Cayman Islands first. So those are the first up. Go to exodussummit.com/workshops to sign up for the workshop to find out about getting residency.
And there are lots of options. So people don't have to feel like you have lots of choices, especially for Mexico, of what you want to do.
Yes. And that workshop is January 13th at 8 p.m. Eastern time.
Thank you.
Close.
Yeah.
You're real close.
So your mom, Rashida's mom wants to know in Mérida, Rashida's mom wants to know, how far are you from the beach in Mérida?
We're about 20 minute away.
Okay. Oh,
yeah.
But people say it's not on the beach.
Yeah, it's not too far. It's only about a 20-minute ride, so it's not too far. But it is a different. And Anne Marie can attest to this as well.
Yeah.
I grew up with the Pacific Ocean, and I love like all the beaches in the Tulum area. The Caribbean beaches, but the one we're at it has more of a Gulf feel to it. So it didn't give me the feel like Tulum did. However, we had just come out of all those hurricanes. So I think the sediment and the earth, had washed up. So it may look better now, but it didn't, it didn't look like the Tulum beach. So.
Can you talk to us about why you left Tulum?
Yeah, I left it. And actually, Anne Marie, I forgot, she was a part of my leaving as well, because I had met her on the Exodus Summit page, and we started communicating, or on her group. And I left because of several things. It was a safety issue for me, because I was brave enough to stay at a hostel, because I'd stayed at one many years ago, but I was told, hostels are safe now and they're different. And, they may well be. And for the first few days at the hostel, it was a good experience, but they didn't have locks on the doors that I was staying in. And I was the only female. And I was like, I don't feel safe, and I need to do something. So that was one issue. But probably a bigger issue overall was I could tell it didn't have the infrastructure that I needed to live. It basically has the hotel vacation spot, down where the beaches are, and then just the other main street. It didn't have any for any cultural historical buildings, and it's still being very built up. That's what people need to know. If you're going to do a beach vacation, if you want to do a retreat, it's an excellent spot. And I'm not saying you can't live there long term without the way it is, because of course people do, but I'm just saying, for me, I needed more of a city, and it's not a city at all. It's basically a jungle. It's still a jungle, a tropical place where they built hotels in the midst of that, and they're building condos, and how they are, but it's the infrastructure. And I didn't need to use Wi-Fi that much, but from what I understand, if you're going to be a digital nomad, there's an issue. And Anne Marie can, so I called Anne Marie, and I called another, and I said, hey, Anne Marie, I'm up here, and there's not a safety issue. And she's like, what are you doing? You need to head down, Mérida has an option, and I can't remember the other city, but she had really good advice for me. And it's interesting, because Mérida was actually the first city I looked into, but I wanted to be by the beach. So that's why I went to Tulum first.
Can I say something about Tulum? Or as I like to call it, Mexico. Tulum.
Uh-oh. Okay.
Beautiful.
Oh, you froze. You froze for a second, Anne Marie.
I'm sorry. I call it Mexalanta. Okay. And Tulum is a beautiful place, beautiful beaches, but it is the jungle, as Tony said. And I like to tell people, when you're in the jungle things come out of the jungle, right? And the Wi-Fi situation, I have to honestly say, so far, the worst Wi-Fi I've experienced in Mexico has been in Tulum. It was a very difficult place to work from. I mean, because the Wi-Fi was what it was. So they're beautiful places to stay. And if you just want to be at the beach, and of course, if you want to party till the break of dawn, you could do that too. If you want to throw all COVID caution to the wind and just be crammed in a bar with folk, you could do that too. But it's a small place, and a lot of people are there.
Very small.
Right? It's very small place, and a lot of people are there. It really is a place. I visited Tulum for the first time like 2 years ago. And I thought it was beautiful for a weekend. And I still think it's a beautiful place to go for a weekend. But it's not a place that I think it's easy to live if you do the kind of work I do, because I really have to have reliable Wi-Fi. And for me, after about a weekend, as much as I like the beach, I don't need to be at the beach all the time. I just need beach adjacency to be able to get to the beach.
Exactly.
But Resso was very disappointing, and that's the beach that's 20 minutes from Mérida. I'm still recovering from how disappointed I was. I'm hoping that the water will look better.
Right.
When in the spring, I'm supposed to be back in Mérida in January for a couple of days. I'll try to get over there to see if it's different. But it's still nice to have a beach nearby, but it's definitely not Tulum.
It's
right?
not.
It reminded me kind of what's that beach town in Texas that everybody goes to that I think is awful?
Galveston?
Don't say Galveston. Okay. But hold up. Galveston is a victim of its geography.
I'm not, listen, and I understand you're from Houston. My ex-boyfriend was from Houston, so I spent some time in Galveston.
Texas real quick.
I'm still recovering from the last visit up to Galveston. But it reminds me, Galveston was fun. And there are lots of bars and restaurants.
But it is not picturesque.
Right.
It is not picturesque, no.
Yeah.
And the water is brown. And that's what I always think about when I think of Galveston is brown water. So when I tell you that Progresso reminded me of a smaller Galveston, that's kind of what it was like. And it may be because
it was just the hurricane.
I think it was because when I went to Progresso, I do not remember. I remember the water being fairly clear and the sand being,
good.
But why are we not talking about what Mérida is like in the summer? Thank you. It is like living on the sun.
Let's talk about that because that is the one thing that frightens the hell out of me.
They said March is going to come. It's going to start about
that is
March.
The fear that I have is because I took a walk from Mérida was hot when I was there. Now it wasn't, what does someone tell me? Fish grease hot. That's how someone described it to me. That really gave me pause. But it was pretty warm. It was hot. Now, I heard that the weather broke after I left, but it was
it's too hot to like. I walk. I love
from
to
my
walk.
apartment near Mérida to the mall, which from my window I could see and didn't seem very far. And like a block in, I was kind of like, can I get an Uber to get to this place?
Right.
So it was hot enough in November to make me feel that way.
It's
so
hot.
I would suggest, and I plan to go back if I decide that it is my favorite place of everywhere I go. I have 10 more places to go. I will go back in the summer because I want to see what it feels like.
April, May, June, July, we're talking about 100 degrees, just the temperature,
hot,
not with the humidity factored in, not that it feels like temperature, but the actual temperature, 100 degrees. A lot of people from here, not from here, but a lot of people live here where I am in Lake Chapala, but because they have left Mérida. I've met quite a few people who are like, I tried, I just couldn't handle it.
It's hot people.
It'll be interesting for me because everybody knows that I don't do heat because I raised 2 track runners and I would say, call me when you run because mama don't sit out in the heat. And so it'll be interesting. So I'm trying to psychologically, prepare myself. And it was hot. It was hot when I first got there and I like to walk. I try to get in like 4 or 5 miles a day. I don't do that just because I'm not as comfortable with the landscape just yet. But it's too hot to walk like the couple of days that Anne Marie was talking about. Yeah, it's too hot to do the walking.
It's hot. I was like, where's the Uber? But the great places, they do have Uber everywhere in Mérida. You can take an Uber.
Very easy.
To the beach, to go to Progresso, you can take an Uber.
What's it cost to get to the beach?
It was minimal. It was maybe the equivalent of $15, I think. Or less, somewhere around there. So it wasn't really bad at all.
It is, it's really inexpensive. Like I chose to leave my car in the States. And when I take an Uber, it cracks me up because my bank tells me how much I got to approve for it. And it's like $1.23, $1.27. And I go all over the place. And then if I go someplace far, it's like, $2.80. And I'm like, well, where am I going? Because that's far. Because everything else is like really in American money, it's $1.23. I mean, you don't even have to think about it. So it's so easy to get around with Uber that I feel very comfortable not having a car, you know.
And that's actually one of the things that I have started to look for in like a long-term city is the ability to use ride sharing versus taxis, because I don't want to have to negotiate with you.
That was another thing about Tulum I didn't like.
Tulum and Playa, right? Playa doesn't have ride sharing yet, do they? So
really?
So for me,
no, they don't have
and then taxi drivers are like, oh, you don't speak Spanish? Come on in, let me take all your money.
350 pesos.
Big thing in Tulum, especially. I found it stressful in Tulum honestly, around the taxi situation. And it was why I like downloaded an app with currency in Spanish conversion, because I could tell, and I had to tell people no. And I learned how good the taxi driver's English was by how many of them I was like, yeah, I'm not paying that. I was like, I don't even have time to translate this into Spanish. I'm not paying that.
Yeah, I stared one down in the back seat of his car. I'm like, no, I was told it's this much and that's how much I'm paying. And we just sat there having a moment.
Do they not use the meters?
There's no meter.
Okay. Because see,
it's a made up number.
Okay.
Same here.
And I don't want to take taxis here just because my Spanish isn't where I would like it to be. And, you know, using rideshare, I don't have to talk to you. You don't have to talk to me. Just go where the phone tells you to take me. But because the weather is so mild here, I can walk.
That's nice. Yeah.
Pretty much everywhere.
Yeah, here, if you're just joining us. Yeah.
So for people going to Tulum, you do have to have an awareness of the taxi cab situation. And I found it most problematic there. I didn't find it as problematic at Playa. That basically most of the time what I was told it should cost, the couple of times I did take a taxi because I was right in the center, so I didn't have to take a taxi a lot, is what it costed. Like when I asked the cab driver, he told me the same thing. But in Tulum, it was kind of all over the place. And you could tell that people were just trying to see if they could get over. And so for me, that's another huge factor. I have a list on my blog of the things that I'm considering. And the taxi situation is a big one for me because I just don't want to have to do that.
Yeah. We don't want our session to end without talking about Rashida's second favorite place in Mexico City. So let's talk about San Miguel de Allende. Have you three been?
No,
I haven't. That's on my list. I can't wait to go.
I was supposed to go next week, but after Rashida mentioned their lax attitude toward COVID, I'm going to Chiapas next week, which is one of the other green states, although, you know, how much that actually means, who knows?
Yeah,
but
who knows?
It's probably better, a little better than here, maybe.
Yeah. Okay. So San Miguel de Allende is, it is where a lot of Canadian and American expats move to, like on the outskirt or on the outer edges of town. But in the very center, in the tourist place, it is a tourist destination, not usually for Americans or Canadians, but for other people from other Mexican towns. And so there's a big influx of vacationers who are actually local to the country in general. So they're Mexican vacationers. And so it feels like, it's always felt like whenever I stay there, like I crashed someone, not like I crashed someone else's party, but like I got invited to like a stranger's party. Like it still feels like a fun vacation destination without necessarily feeling like gentrification or being overrun, or a town that's overrun by expats, even though parts of it, there's a lot of people moving there to retire. It's cute, it's easy, it's got a little square, some of the best chicken you'll ever eat, and like off the square, it's just churches, squares, picturesque buildings. It's, I think, a UNESCO heritage site. And so like they paint it's got to be certain color on each building, and they decorate all their doorways. Like it on some of the streets, it feels like the people living there in the homes and the store clerk and the store owners have these competitions about whose building is going to be decorated the best. Like it feels like everyone is going out of their way to make the town pretty. Like I remember getting up, I was there in 2018, and I got up early morning to like go take a walk around the town. And it's like 5 a.m, and there are people sweeping the street, not like the sidewalk, but the street. And I was like, where would you see this? Like where in America do you see someone with like an actual broom sweeping? And I was like, and I was like, y'all do this every morning, huh? Like it's a very well manicured town. It kind of it's got a little bit of a Disney feel, like everything's really colorful, everything's really cute. I loved visiting there. I could see myself living there. The issue I think I would have is I wouldn't want to add to that the level of gentrification that happens with all of the Americans and Canadians who move there long term. Like I was there once and a woman was talking about how like, oh, this restaurant, it used to just be this Mexican place, but now it's this really great pizza place. And I'm like, but I'm in a town in Mexico, and you're talking about
you don't need much Spanish there, do you?
you need,
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
You need more than the beach cities, but maybe not as much as Mexico City outside of downtown. You see what I'm saying? Like you don't need a lot, but if you go to someone in a store, who's working in a store there, they probably speak some English. If you're interacting with other tourists, they might not speak any because they're from other towns in Mexico, most of them. So it's got a weird little, for a vacation town, it's got a weird little flavor that I like. And there's always a wedding, fireworks. Where we stayed last time, we were there in November, and we stayed above a bar we didn't realize, and across the street from a bar. So we had like conflicting bass booms going through the apartment at all times. But it was still like, it still feels kind of small town. It's just very cute, very quaint.
It is, though. You can't overstate how many white people live there. No. Same as here in Lake Chapala. I'm outside of Guadalajara in Lake Chapala. You can't, like, this place is more than 50% white people, Americans and Canadians. So you can't overstate that. In San Miguel, they have money. San Miguel's a little more expensive. Lake Chapala is a little less expensive, but they're very similar places in that regard. So if you're getting to Mexico to get away from white people, not kidding, these are not, you're not going to enjoy it. Now, San Miguel is
interesting.
Sorry.
You know what's interesting? I was talking to someone who lives in San Miguel, and while we were talking, she was mentioning to me, you know, when I go shopping, I go to Costco in Querétaro. When I do, you know, when I fly in to get to San Miguel, I go to Querétaro. So guess what I put on my list? I'm going to Querétaro.
San Miguel is in the state of Guanajuato. There's an airport. So it's very easy access, which is why people love Lake Chapala. Very easy access to the Guadalajara Airport, International Airport. I always say 30 minutes, but it's not even 30 minutes. And then
5 minutes to the airport.
Guanajuato is in between the airport in the state of Guanajuato is in between the towns of Leon and Guanajuato, not far from San Miguel de Allende. So easy access to an international airport. Any of those cities aside from San Miguel are super Mexican and places that you also enjoy, not fun visiting places, but places to enjoy a life, right? To live a good life.
And I would say that you can avoid the white people in San Miguel if you stay in the like downtown-y square and like the tourist areas, because they're rarely there because they live there. They're leaving to go to Costco, right? They're not coming to like the main strip to do things because they've done it 1,000 times already probably. But if you want to live there, they're gonna be there.
Yeah, I'm actually more interested in that in Querétaro now than I am in San Miguel for that reason, because it's actually a Mexican city. And
they have HEB in Querétaro.
Yeah. And it has all these things. And so when I started researching it, I was like, I need to go here. And it's only a 40-minute drive from San Miguel. So I was like, this will be easy to get to. So I added it to the list. So it's on the list now.
Leon, I spent some time in Leon. I enjoyed that.
Guanajuato?
Morelia. I love Guanajuato. It's boring. It's beautiful. Beautifully boring.
A lot of hills. Isn't there a lot of hills there?
A lot of hills. My mom couldn't stand it. My mom was like,
I'm like, nah, that's kind of, I had to cross that off the list.
Yeah, my mom couldn't stand it. But Morelia is also a place that is, it's Mexican still, but it's got enough stuff to make you comfortable as a person coming from the US or Canada. Morelia is a college town. It's south of like all those places we just talked about, south of the state of Guanajuato. It's in a different state, which I can't remember right now, but it's also super popular. I had decent internet there. I wouldn't want to work with that kind of internet there. But if you're talking about going someplace and not working, but like living, you know, and you don't have to work, Morelia is also a good option. It looks like Querétaro, which I struggle saying. It's got the aqueductos. It's, you know, just a nice chill place with a good cost of living and where you can navigate things without being fluent in Spanish, but you have to speak some Spanish. You have to be willing to learn some Spanish. So we've covered Yucatan, and we've covered the East Coast. We've covered whatever Mexico City is called. We've covered some of the...
That's the Valley of Mexico.
The Valley. Thank you, Adelia. We've covered Guadalajara and its surroundings. We haven't covered the West Coast beaches.
Yeah.
Any info? I don't have any intel on the West Coast beaches. I did go to some beaches north of the other beach, which I can't think. That's not helpful. I went to the small beach that is near PV, Puerto Vallarta. I haven't been to Puerto Vallarta, but I've been to small beaches up north of Puerto Vallarta. Nice, but not a place that I would want to live.
Puerto Vallarta is on my list too.
Not the infrastructure. Yeah.
There is a growing number of Black women in Mazatlan.
Okay.
I haven't had a chance to go out there yet, but they're there.
I wanted to go to Hualtuco.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I just couldn't figure out getting there. So I'm planning to come back to Mexico in the early summer because I want to go to Baja and I want to spend some time in Baja.
I want to go to Baja this winter.
Yeah. I'm connected with a lady from Veracruz. I'm looking into Veracruz. I've connected with a sister that's in Veracruz. She said she's there all by herself.
Yeah.
Terry.
Okay. I heard great things about that.
Yeah, I think it was Terry. Did I hear somebody say? Yeah.
Also, I think that's a good point. Try not to be in a city by yourself. Wherever you go, whether it's Mexico or somewhere else, try not to be in a city by yourself. If you are going to a city that has a large Black expat population, there is probably a brothers and sisters of whatever that city name is. So Brothers and Sisters of Mexico City. You said Brothers and Sisters of Mérida earlier?
Yeah, yes, Brothers and Sisters of Mérida. And it's, so interesting spelling because you could not pull it up, but it's BROTHER. Brothers. HOS is the end of it. Yeah.
So you got to try both. Yeah. The ER and the AH.
Yeah. But like they're in Southeast Asia. They're all over Mexico.
But that's made a huge difference for me.
You can find these Facebook groups.
Yeah.
Unless you have to be somewhere for work where you're the only one, try not to. Make sure you can find a community, and it doesn't have to be Black people, but whatever community you feel most akin to, try not to be the only one of that when you're there, or you're just gonna feel lonely. And we don't want you to feel lonely. We want you to be happy.
Yeah.
All right, our time is up. We appreciate you guys talking to us today. Don't forget that we are hosting a workshop on getting residency in Mexico, right? So you listen to this because you're interested in these towns in Mexico. Let's learn about getting residency in Mexico. Visit exodussummit.com/workshops and you will be able to, and you can sign up. Today is Tuesday, Wednesday is tomorrow, and Wednesday is the last day to get early bird pricing. $24 for a workshop on getting residency in Mexico. If you have
people,
get your early bird price, do it. Like there's no reason not to.
Listen, you don't see $39 and be mad.
You're gonna be mad.
You're gonna be mad.
So also once after you sign up for the workshop, you can email us your specific questions so that in this workshop you will get your information about getting residency in Mexico. Yeah. I'm here in Mexico. Rashida has moved, I guess, to Mexico City.
I'm back on Monday.
You don't want to be left out. Anne-Marie's here. Tony's here. Don't be left out.
Anne-Marie's back soon.
Soon to come.
Right.
Soon come.
Come on back so I can not drink with you.
I'm coming. I got another week and some change, and I'll be down there.
All right. So definitely sign up for the workshops. Like Stephanie said earlier, let's see if I can do it. Mexico, France, Portugal, Cayman Islands, Costa Rica, teaching online and teaching abroad. They are all $24 until the end of the day on Wednesday. Don't come crying on Thursday because you know who. Don't do exceptions. I don't do exceptions, y'all. I don't. I'm telling you now. I don't do it.
Okay, this was fun.
Yes. fun.
That was.
Happy to have you
Thanks.
guys. If you guys have questions after you sign up, send us your questions about getting residency. They have to be residency related questions, and we'll make sure we answer them on the workshop. We'll have special guests, so it won't just be Stephanie and I talking. We're gonna have guests in the
We're gonna have
workshops.
people who have done it. Maybe somebody you already know.
Maybe. Okay, thanks everyone.
Thank you.
Until next time.
Thanks. This was fun.
Bye
Bye.
guys.
Bye.